Welcome to Vertex of Abundance. My name is Serene High. I'll be your oracle today. We're going to go ahead and allow a few moments for folks to get into the room. I had on a hoodie, so I don't know how the sound's going. Y'all gonna need to work with me. I am very, very slow moving. Okay. But hi, hello, and welcome again. Welcome to Vertex of Abundance. My name is Serene High. And today I will conduct the sermon, Soul Purpose Saturday sermon for your mission, purpose, life path, your destiny. I always say your soul, purpose, mission, karma, destiny. It's the same thing, same difference, right? So while we're waiting for some folks to jump in the room, I'm just going to go ahead and check the preliminary energies here. Wow. Utaka. I'm hearing a song, and I'm scared when I hear this song because it means I need to go read the Bible, which I've been doing a lot lately. But I don't know if you know the band. They're like from the 70s, 80s. They're called Still Pulse, and the song is like "Chant a Psalm a Day." I want to chant a psalm a day. I want to chant a psalm a day. So just go listen to that on Spotify. It's there. It's called Chant a Psalm. 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 Okay, so let's check the room count, y'all. Let me know if the sound is good, very good. All right, so it seems like the preliminary energies are telling me that we might go on a little bit of journey. We might, illuminate, elucidate, enumerate some energies here. And what that might be, well, again, our soul purpose, mission, karma, destiny here in this lifetime, it involves discernment. We come down here to earth to further refine, further define, further come to know Him. So He is a spiritual aspect of she. She is when you come to earth. There's always an H or an S added on. He is kind of like the spiritual seed that gets planted into the reality, the consciousness reality that you're perceiving. And I'm speaking very esoterically right now. It's more along the lines of like, as above, so below, from within, so without. First thing you learn is what's alive in you. What is it that you're called to do? What is it that's knocking at your door every day, getting your soul to dance inside your body? As you go on that journey towards yourself, you will meet God. You will find God. Now, God is generator, operator, destroyer. I don't think it's Allah, Buddha, Shekinah, Jehovah. I think those are all emanations of a source energy that's unfathomable. Okay. So, as above, so below means everything that's going on down here is a mirror image of earth. So that's why the devil exists, because if there's a God, in God's shadow hides the devil. But if you look at the word devil, it's lived, spelled backwards. So when you disconnect, disunify from the all that is, also known as the universal love vibration and unconditional love and universal compassion, all that kind of stuff, that's when you begin to break your mind away from the truth. And see, if you don't know yourself, you're never going to be able to understand truth when you hear it. I see this a lot. A lot of people that come around me are very dogmatized. They trust Google, they trust the news, they trust the newspaper. And it's a sad, sad story. I really value soul's wisdom. I really value strong sense of intuition, keen connections. You know, the sacrifice to make here on earth as it is in heaven is understanding that you're in this world, you're in this picture, you're in this situation, but you're not of this situation. So I talk a lot about if you believe it, it's true. People tell me all the time, well, you're this and that and that. I'm like, great, excellent. And they're like, didn't you hear what I said? And I'll be like, sure, thank you. And I'll just do my thing. And they're like, but aren't you going to respond? Aren't you going to rebuttal? And I'm like, no. If that's what you believe, then that's true. They can call me an asshole, a faggot, a nigger. They can call me a bitch. They can call me a liar. If that's what you believe, then it's true. You know, you could ask me, would you say that you're not any of those things? And I would say, yes, I would say that I'm not any of those things. You could ask me, do you think you're any of those things? And I would say, well, yes, I'm all of those things. And they would be like, well, what is your answer? And my answer is whatever it is to you. For example, I had a situation with somebody a few months back in September, and they were cursing, cursing, cursing. And I just said, you know, have yourself a nice life. And they're like, well, what's that supposed to mean? Oh my God, you're trying to incite a fight. Da, 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 da. That is an insult. You're trying to insult me. You're right. And they're like, what's that supposed to mean? And I said, whatever you think I meant is what I meant. And they didn't understand. You might not understand right now as I'm saying this, but they were going on and on and on. And I just said, you know, dude, have yourself a nice life. Bless you and your ancestors. And I wasn't doing that whole southern, you know, bless your heart, ain't you special, you blessed. You know, I wasn't doing that. But I was. I was doing that. When I said to him, have yourself a nice life, and he goes, what do you mean by that? I meant whatever you think I meant. So if you heard that statement and you took offense, that's what I meant. If you heard that statement and you felt like that was a compliment, that's what I meant. Whatever you perceive when you're on earth is what is true for you, and that is the reality you will create. So if I started out this sermon with Chant a Psalm a day, I'm actually going to read from the Bible today. It's very rare that I'll do Bible study with people, and I prefer to read the Bhagavad Gita. But hey, let's read the Bible today, folks. So I'm going to check the comments in the room, see how many people are in here. Go ahead and smash that like button, baby. Let me know how the sound is doing. Hi, hello, and welcome. So the message here is the overall situation is discernment. We need to come into contact with our higher self. And unfortunately, you grow through what you go through. So if you run from things because you're fearful, if you're avoidant because you have aversion to fear, let me tell you about the secret of life. There is 4 noble truths. If you are born, you will experience suffering. Suffering can be eliminated. All suffering is born out of addiction to material nature. If you liberate yourself from the material nature, you will reach nirvana. Do you understand? So the thing that you are unable to let go of will in fact be the devil in your life. What is the devil spelled backwards? Lived. So if you lived with an attachment could be fear, some type of emotional nature, some type of thinking pattern, some type of thinking process, coulda, shoulda, woulda, when you're shitting all over the place, taking other people's inventory, saying that all the things happening to you are because of all these external things, people, places, and things, right? When really the common denominator is you, and you keep pointing your finger at other people, places, and things, not realizing that they're 3 pointing back at you. That's typically what the devil is. It's the thing that you allow to take your power away because you give it away. Very rarely are you in a situation where it's tyrannical, where there's some type of dictatorial control, where some entity, person, place, or thing takes over your life and creates oppression. Normally, you're attracted to the situation because you're at the vibration in which that karma can bear upon you. You cannot experience karma if you've created that karma and then you go on to a higher vibration. It'll be transmuted. When karma comes, it's because you're still at the same vibration that that problem was created in. You cannot fix a problem in the same mind frame at which you arrived at it. If you don't get bigger, brighter, and better, guess what? You're never going to overcome that. So I'm going to start using words like Lord and delivereth and all that other stuff. I'll be reading Psalms 23, I've decided, just now. But that's what's coming through me. I'm hearing that. I'm feeling it. So the overall situation is when you're born, you need to figure out what your physical body, where that comes from, what it is that you're stewarding down here on earth. You need to come into contact with your higher self. And if you don't go through anything, you're not going to grow through anything. So if you want to find the divine light of the Creator, you're going to need to walk through the darkness and look for the light. So handling your problems, handling that stress, handling that little bit of friction that is asking you to think bigger, brighter, and better, to see bigger and brighter and better, to go bigger and brighter and better, to be bigger and brighter and better. If you ain't willing to do the work, you ain't gonna get no results. And if you run to be comfortable all the time instead of to be confident, aversion is a sickness, because when you're not present, you're out of alignment. You're giving your power away to some external energy. For the average human, especially the non-melanated ones, 50% of your thoughts, 50% of your feelings are not your own. There are entities, energies around you that are using you as a vehicle. That's what the surface of the earth is for. The third dimension is not physical beings. I have to have this conversation a lot when we talk about sacrifice, which I'm not a proponent of, but it does happen and it's not a bad thing. Your spirit is a divine light that comes to earth and animates a physical form. So yes, you are living a human experience, but you are a spiritual being animating the vehicle of a human body to navigate the surface of the earth. Your body is your vehicle. Your soul is eternal. A soul is a spirit that has a home. So for the 80, 90 years that you're alive on earth, you assume a form. Sometimes it's an animal, sometimes it's a plant. Gods and goddesses, they actually assume trees. When you hear about talking heads, or when you see those movies where there's a head floating around, it's talking about the avatar, the eternal nature of yourself, the past, present, and future self in the same place at the same time. So look at these two cards here before we start this sermon. Overall situations, we need to learn discernment. We need to get into contact with our higher self. Obstacle challenge is that there will be trials and tribulations. Your test will become your testimony. Your mess will become your message. If you want it to be any other way, you're smoking crack, you're in the remedial class, you're wasting time, you're distracting yourself, you're externalizing your power. Period. Because the focus should be on beliefs. And look, this is not some believe in some dogmatic oppressive. There's a drum there that means connect to the heartbeat of the womb of the celestial mother called Gaia. Pachimami. Pachimama. Malusak Polisa. Yemaya. Connect to the root. Connect to the heartbeat of the divine breath. Right? Because the sacrifice to be made was you will come here to earth and you will be made reborn in his image and be redeemed. Listen, y'all, I don't know why I'm Christian today. I'm a Voodunsi through and through. Through and through. Voodoo through and through. But today God is talking. It's the same spirit, but y'all wouldn't know it because y'all stuck on the dogmatic religions and Jesus is stolen your soul because you let him. And it ain't really Jesus, to tell you the truth. It's the devil. And if that's not true, you should hear that and laugh at me, not get offended. It's funny, when you say something to a person and they get offended, it means that they can't deal with reality. Being offended is a choice. If you say something to somebody and it doesn't fit into their understanding of themselves, and it's funny to them, they're like, that's not how I see myself. That's not how I show up. That's funny. You clearly don't know me. That's the person who can stand on their truth. The person with the emptiest brain has the most to say and they say it the loudest. The person with a full heart, with a full mind, with a full soul, they don't need to say a lot. So the evolving situation would be to learn your name. know who you are, what you are, why you're here, to know what your tools are to go ahead and navigate and to be able to pull from the universal spirit and create down here on earth. And that's the secret. And that's the journey. So I don't know. Let's start this sermon. I do know. I don't know what it is for you. That came through me, so you're welcome. Let's move on. I will read from Psalms 23 today. Great. Excellent. So the devil came right out. Motherfucker. So that song is strong in my spirit. That chant a psalm a day, chant a psalm a day. I want to chant a psalm a day. That's Steel Pulse, Steel Pulse. It's an old school 80s reggae band. So take a moment, go get your Bible, go download your Bible app. Behind you is a clock. All right, so this is about stripping ourselves from the devil's energy. We really got to get our minds right. And the funny thing is, when your heart's not right, your mind goes really easily. And if you can't control what goes on in your mind, your heart is not your own. It's an unfortunate situation, and people like to argue with me about that, and they just sound stupid to me, to be frank and honest. Let's consult the ancestors. So that came back, that card came right back. Okay, so we have Jesus here with us and Mary Magdalene. Okay, so, all right. You know, we need to go on a journey, and I talk a lot about fear because fear is a virus on your hard drive. It literally is a virus that allows your hard drive, your system, your structure to be hijacked by the devil. And, you know, by the time I come around, I meet a lot of people that are wounded from life. And, you know, until you can address your wounding and heal from it, you're going to keep reincarnating here on Earth. It's the reality of the situation. Because you need to be a person who focuses on their drives, their desires, their passions, their ambitions, their motivations. If your soul's ambition and your heart's desire are snuffed out because they're eradicated by fear and anxiety and the shenanigans that go on in your mind, the drama me in the story, the coulda, shoulda, woulda, the everybody's against me, the oh, poor me, why me? I'm a victim. I'm wounded. I'm running out of nice things to say. And it's not a bad thing. So if that's where you are, be there. But be aware that you are there. Take an inventory. If you're fearful, say, I am fearful. I have fear. That's the step number one. Step number two, I'm fearful about what? Step number three, maybe sometimes you're fearful because you don't know something. Step number three, what's behind the fear? So if you're fearful that your boyfriend's going to cheat on you, behind the fear is that you don't have self-worth and value. You've placed your self-worth and value into somebody else. So if somebody else doesn't affirm your self-worth, then you're worthless. Okay. So step number four would be, well, If somebody cheats on me, and this is an arbitrary example, that doesn't mean anything about my self-worth. That means either I made the wrong commitment, I made the wrong agreement, or I chose the wrong partner. It could be any of those. Because monogamy in the third dimension is a stupid-ass story, and it's a drug and a enslavement device. Unless you're a Scorpio or a Taurus, that's another story. You know, and that's an arbitrary example. Anxiety is the one I deal with the most, not fear. Anxiety is a low-grade fear. Anxiety is an indication that there's something beneath that you can't deal with. Okay? So you're future pacing because you're catastrophizing, because you're unable or unwilling to show up in the present and participate in the feeling that you have right now. So anxiety is never the root feeling. It's like going to a therapy session. You tell the therapist what's going on, and they say, why? Elaborate. The first rebuttal, the first reason, it's like sales. The first rebuttal is never the real reason. You sit there, you do your sales presentation, they're like, oh, I need to think about it. Why? I need to go home and ask the wife. Why? Because we make financial decisions together. Great. What's your decision-making criteria? What information do I need to give you so that you are at purpose and can make an informed decision? It's the same thing with your own self. I'm debilitated. I'm unable to go towards what I want. Why? Because I'm fearful and anxious. Why? Because I can't show up and participate because I have this weakness. Great. Welcome to Earth. Welcome to your work. Let's begin. Let's work on your self-worth and value. Let's work on your strength, courage, and wisdom. Your faith, hope, and optimism. So when you have that, you can go towards what you want. Because until you can get yourself out of the illusion that everything is happening to you and not for you, you are going to continue to be at the whim and whimsy of the external world. The external world is an illusion. Okay? And see, the devil only has power where you give him power. He is so overrated. So overrated. So overrated. Okay? It's like one of those games. You have to hit the ball back. It's not a game. It's not a tennis match if one person hits the ball and the other person doesn't hit the ball back. Then there's no back and forth. Right? And if you lack the wherewithal to be present with yourself and take an inventory of what's alive in you, you're going to continue to be at the whim and whimsy of the external world. That's the way that works, unfortunately. So let's get into this here. So the two tools we have here is stepping into alignment, but it will be through, we will need to go to the very end of something, which means this is when you're putting so much energy into something that you lose your spiritual power. So mostly that's money, usually, but this is not a money card. So it could be trying to get somebody to do something for you. It could be trying to prove something. So my thing is, you're never alone. Your eternal partner is Great Spirit. And yes, honey, you're on Earth. You can take a lover. You can find a union, which is a business relationship, not a marriage relationship, believe it or not. You know, you can have children. You know, none of these things are bad. You know, what's bad is doing it for the wrong reasons, not having a clue about what's going on. And then when the shit hits the fan, acting like you don't know what went down. Looking all stupid, dazed, and confused. Like you don't know that you bought your own little depressive story. There's a mystery to life. There's a secret. And until you're willing to get in the game and compete, you are never going to win. You will miss 100% of the shots you do not take. And at the end of your life, the only thing that you'll regret is the things you didn't do, the things you didn't say, the power, the self-empowerment that you left on the table, that you put in the hands of other people, places, and things. There's a word called counterphobia. I'm counterphobic. If something frightens me, yeah, I might take 3 paces, 3 minutes, three inches, 3 feet. I might take 3 days to rest and recuperate, and then I'm going to tackle my fear. I will go in the direction of what scares me the most. That's not always healthy. There's been moments when there's a gun in my face and I'm too stupid not to back down. Motherfuckers offended me and my honor. I'm going to say something, even if I'm going to die right here, right now. Trust me, that's not always wise. But unless you're in the Middle East or some despotistic, oppressive, dictatorial regime, do what scares you the most. Fear very rarely is at all applicable. Fear is a low vibrational, animalistic response. Okay, we're not living in the days where there's a saber-toothed tiger chasing us across the tundra. Okay. The reason why it's called responsibility is because we have the ability to choose how we respond to the stimuli in our environment. You could say the same exact statement to two different people and they will perceive two drastically different meanings. I'm getting a lot right now. This is a lifetime where we get to go to the next level. So some of us, if we get our work done this lifetime, we don't have to reincarnate here on Earth. And Earth isn't bad. It's not a negative thing. It's just kind of like going to high school. It's to get you ready to compete in the game of life. It's to get you ready to go into the marketplace and be productive. Whatever that looks, productivity looks different to another person than it does to this person. But we're still going somewhere to be productive. We're going to the marketplace to be productive. Whatever marketplace you're in doesn't matter. Whatever productivity means for you doesn't matter. What matters is that you show up knowing what to do, knowing how to get out of life what you want. And some people try and they realize that they're on a path that's divine and chosen, and that their life is not their own, but they still have free will, and so they need to choose to serve. Some people serve themselves and serve themselves only. That takes us back to the devil energy. None of these things are bad. What's bad is not knowing these things. When you're going through your life unaware, unawakened, and everything's happening to you and nothing's happening for you, and you don't know what the source of this phenomena you are perceiving in your life is, that is bad. If every little thing that comes across your fucking purview frightens you, that is bad. If you don't have a way to actively, objectively participate in your own life, that's an oxymoron. They're opposing actively but objectively. Okay. So that's that whole grain of salt. Take it with a grain of salt. So let's start this sermon. Um, I always have my Bible open to Psalms. So let's read Psalms 23, because this will make, oh, here we are. It'll make a lot of sense here. So I'm just going to start. It's only 6 verses, so I'll read the whole thing and then I'll break it down. The Lord is my shepherd, I shall not want. He maketh me to lie down in green pastures. He leadeth me beside the still waters. He restoreth my soul. He leadeth me in the paths of righteousness. For his name's sake, yea, though I walk through the valley of the shadow of death, I will fear no evil, for thou art with me. Thy rod and thy staff, they comfort me. Thou preparest a table before me in the presence of mine enemies. Thou anointest my head with oil, my cup runneth over. Surely goodness and mercy shall follow me all the days of my life, and I will dwell in the house of the Lord forever. That is like a whole college semester, those 6 verses. So y'all gonna get some goodness today. Let me just talk to you about this. So let's break that first verse down. The Lord is my shepherd, I shall not want. So the word Lord, to lord over someone, the technical definition of the Lord is really the moon. When you are living underneath something else. So to an ant, a human is a god because it's almighty, all powerful, and it can destroy or enlighten that ant. Okay. To a human, a god would be a lion, a tiger, a raging bull. It could be a giant. What happens if a 25-foot giant comes out of Easter Island? To you, to us, the human, that's our Lord because it lords over us. It's more powerful. So, for all intents and purposes, and alchemically, the Lord is the moon. The Lord is my shepherd, I shall not want. What does that mean? We incarnate here with some type of veil. Our body, our skin is our veil, the moon sign. If you can align with the energy of your moon, I have a moon in Aquarius. I have an emotional need to exchange beliefs and to come at and engage from a universal galactic standpoint. I can't choose favorites. I can't get myopic. I can't talk about individual people, or I'm not interested and I'm uncomfortable the moment somebody tried to put me in a box and paint some little picture on me because I'm bigger, brighter, and better than that. That's for me as an Aquarian moon. Say you have an Aries moon. You need to move quickly. You need to have spontaneity. You need to be able to shoot from the hip. Use your ideas. You need to get sparks of light. You need to be inspired. So you have a Leo moon. You need to be treated with dignity, serenity, and respect. You need things to be righteous and royal. You need to have fun. You need to feel the thirst for life quenched. Say you have, I don't know, a Capricorn moon. You need to understand the systems and the structures of things, right? So the Lord is your moon sign. You might not know this. The Lord is my shepherd, I shall not want. God is alive in you, my dear. So if you don't get to know yourself, you will never know God. And if you think God is some entity, some energy outside of you, you're talking about source. You're not talking about God. God is alive in you. God is actually your third eye, and heaven is your brain. It's your skull. It's your mind. It's the area above your throat, the area above your mouth. That's the heavens. God is your third eye. Okay. The Lord is my shepherd. I shall not want. If you don't go towards what harmonizes you and makes you feel comfortable, not avoiding conflict, but learning how to be above it, you're going to continue to be wanting. And thirst creates suffering because it's an attachment to the material nature. What are the Four Noble Truths? Suffering is inevitable. Suffering can be alleviated. Suffering is born of attachment to physical senses. Okay? And you can liberate yourself when you no longer have attachments to physical senses. The Four Noble Truths. Number 2, he maketh me to lie down in green pastures. He leadeth me beside the still waters. So I'm hearing Adam and Eve right there. He maketh me to lie down in green pastures. That's Adam. Geb. He maketh me lie down in green pastures. He puts you in a physical body. He leadeth me beside still waters. He shows me a mirror of myself. Still waters is the Twin Towers, is when you're born. You know, Earth is a water planet. Believe it or not, water is not on Earth. Earth is on water. He maketh me to lie down in green pastures. He leadeth me beside the still waters. So he put you in a body and he brought you here to earth to see a reflection of yourself so that you can perceive the phenomena of the universe. Number 3, he restores my soul. He leadeth me to the path of righteousness for his namesake. God, generator, operator, destroyer. He restores my soul and leadeth me in the paths of righteousness for his name's sake. What is righteousness? It's dharma, dharmic path. It's things that purifies the dirt off of you. He restores my soul. If you go towards who you are and you see who you are and you work to improve who you are and you become comfortable and in love with who you are, you have the phone line to God, the hotline to God right then and there. Because you're not externalizing your power. And the moment something comes that threatens your power, you can say, hey, I don't need to call you bad. I don't need to call you a thief. But something was stolen from me, and that doesn't align with what my needs are. My needs aren't getting met if I'm cohabitating with a thief. If I'm sharing space with a rapist, that doesn't align with me. So I'm going to go somewhere else because my value judgment is that I don't want to associate with a rapist. Now, I would even take a step away from the word rapist, and I'm using words. These are examples. You cannot judge people on their intentions. You judge yourself on your intentions. You judge others on their behavior. If an employee comes to me arguing about something, if I need to adjust an employee's attitude or their behavior, I'm going to say, hey, over the last 30 days, you've been late to work 5 times. There's no way they can argue with me about their behavior. If I go to them, you don't seem like you care about your job. You're not serious about your job. They can argue that until the sky turns purple, until kingdom come, right? So we measure our behavior. We measure other people by their behavior. We measure ourselves by our intentions. So if you're going towards your authentic self, that's your moon sign, the Lord is my shepherd. So if you're being led to the truth of who you are and why you're here, you shall not want. If you wake up every day with passions, drives, desires, ambitions, motivations, knowing what your heart's desire, your soul's ambition is, and you go towards that, you can take refuge in the Lord. You can sit in the bosom of spirit. This is a water planet, not an earth planet. I know this is called earth. He restoreth my soul. He leadeth me to the paths of righteousness for his name's sake. What is God? God is eternity. God is glory. God is everything and God is nothing. God is the Alpha. God is the Omega. So you start with an understanding of yourself, and then you understand how you fit into him. Yeah, though I walk through the valley of the shadow of death, I shall fear no evil. So if you're truly living, you can see evil for what it is, because what is evil spelled backwards? Live. What is fear? False evidence appearing rare. Flee everything and run. Fear. I could go on, but every time I say something, it's going to stab you in the spirit. Flee everything and run. That's what I see fearful people as. When you show up fearful in the third dimension, in the fourth and fifth dimension, you look like a crackhead. There's no nicer way to say that. Thy rod and staff, they comfort me. What is the rod and staff? It's Mercury. God is Brahma, and when God comes to earth, he comes as Mercury. So it's funny because the rod and staff is human. That's the human archetype. Mercury is the archetype of humanity. If we're made in God's image, that's why we're born in a human vessel, because that's when we can access everything else. There's only 7 other archetypes of animals in nature that are as spiritual as us. So before I continue the sermon, you could have been born as the assel hair on a donkey. You could have been born as the eyebrow on a rat. Somehow you were fortunate enough to be born into a human vessel. Use your life. Don't waste your life, my dear. Okay? Yeah, though I walk through the valley of the shadow of death, I will fear no evil, and thou art with me. Thy rod and staff, they comfort me. If you're continually climbing the ladder, which is the spine, which is also the staff, you continue initiating your degrees, learning more about yourself, learning more about the world through learning more about yourself. That's called self-initiation. Again, yeah, though I walk through the valley of the shadow of death. It's talking about coming through the Twin Towers, being born into the material plane. You're under illusion. That's the valley of shadow and death. When you come out of the spiritual realm and your divine light incarnates into a body, that's walking through the valley of the shadow of death. In order to get back to the divine realm, you must die. Your divine self must divide from your physical self. Maybe it's 80, 90 years later, but that's what happens. Though I walk through the valley of the shadow of death, I will fear no evil, for thou art with me. God is you. You are God. You are not source. God comes from source. Okay, there's one goddess, there are many gods. There's one sky, there are many stars in the sky. There's many planets in the heavens, but there's one heavens. You hear what I'm saying? Yet though I walk through the valley of the shadow of death, I shall fear no evil. So if you're walking toward yourself and you're becoming a bigger and brighter and better, what scares you on a Monday might liberate you on a Friday. I will fear no evil, for thou art with me. You are God, God is you. If you can connect to the truth of who you are and why you're here, the essence of your authentic self, nothing outside can shake you. You know, I have a lot of physical pain, an incredible amount of physical pain. I have dying nerves. My body is deteriorating. Let's talk about it later. So sometimes a joint ain't gonna help me. Mama smokes a lot of weed, but it's really more of like sometimes I have to sit there and not pray, but I have to sit there and go inside and breathe. And I literally will be like, okay, my physical experience, my nerve endings, they're an illusion. If I go to the real essence of who I am. So within 5 seconds, 10 seconds of sitting and breathing and going into my authentic self, the pain disappears. Um, we are on YouTube, so I don't want to say too much, but well, let's just say I'm a savage, quite lethal, and I could kill a person 31 ways in less than 30 seconds. I know of a handful of ways to get rid of a body in less than 8 hours. I'm not a killer, don't worry. I'm just saying, like, you know, in torture, in the arts of tradecraft, we can call it spycraft, okay? There's many ways to get your answers out of a person, but there's also, if you're the one being tortured, there's many ways to disassociate with your physical body so that the torture is ineffectual. This may be too much for some of y'all, but I'd rather have you with me than against me. You should think the same thing. So it doesn't matter what you perceive through your human experience. If you go to your eternal self, you're connecting with God. Yeah, though I walk through the valley of the shadow of death, I will fear no evil. No matter what is going on in front of you, there is an eternal aspect. And if you do your work, you will become able to perceive the phenomena of the universe. For thou art with me, thy rod and thy staff will comfort me. The levels of self-initiation, the walking the divine and the righteous path. He restoreth my soul. He leadeth me on the path of righteousness for his name's sake. Boom, dada, there you go. Thy rod and thy staff shall comfort me. As above, so below. That's the rod and the staff translation. Thou preparest a table for me in the presence of mine enemies. Thou anointest my head with oil. My cup runneth over. When your head becomes anointed, it means your Shem, your Shemen, not your semen, but your Shem, your Shemen, goes up the base of the spine. That's the levels of initiation. Every vertebra, there's 33 vertebrae. So that's when you get anointed. When your third eye opens, it means your Kundalini has gone all the way up your spine, around the top of your head. That's when you're anointed with the oil of Christ. That's the true definition, in case you didn't know. Thou preparest a table for me in the presence of mine enemies. Conflict breeds change. Adversity is the catalyst for change. The lighter you are, the more light you shine, the more the devil's going to try to attack you. You will become godlike the more you go through adversity. If you are not tested in the fire, if you are not tested in the flames, you are not righteous. So if you didn't have to overcome some abusive boyfriend, if you didn't have to survive some narcissist, if you didn't have a bitch at work trying to steal your job, if you didn't have that cunt across the street trying to take your man, you ain't got shit. You ain't nothing if you ain't got enemies. If someone can trying to take you down, it means you ain't above nobody. If somebody is trying to take you down, it means they are beneath you. Devil, get behind me. Do you understand what I mean? What is the devil spelled backwards? Lived. If you don't meet the devil while you living, you ain't living, girl. Thou preparest a table for me in the presence of mine enemies. Thou anointest my head with oil, my cup runneth over. The more you endure, the brighter you become, and you will be made righteous and holy in the eyes of God if you can forsake the devil and tell him to stand behind you. Surely goodness and mercy shall follow me all the days of my life, and I will dwell in the house of the Lord forever. If you come to earth and you overcome your obstacles and you face your demons and you battle your enemies with dignity, serenity, and grace, you will be made righteous in the eyes of God. He will make a table for you in heavens, and thou preparest a table for me. Thou preparest a table before me in the presence of my enemies. You will find your light by overcoming your shadow. If there's some aspect that you're unaware of and you're refusing to learn about yourself, that's when you attract karma into your life. If you suppress and repress because you are having an aversion and a fear of living your life, you're projecting your shit onto somebody else. If somebody that you're projecting on mirrors back to you who you are, that's when they become your enemy. Thou preparest a table before me in the presence of my enemies. Thou anointest my head with oil, my cup runneth over. He's talking about your Brahmanhood. He's talking about your divinity. This is the psalm is David's psalm. David complained in his prayers of great distress. His enemies were defeating him, were attacking him, right? He's now leaning into the confidence he has in God's grace. In order to receive grace, you need to be willing to go and have no safety net. You need to be willing to go forward. Even if it's in darkness, one foot in front of the other, you will eventually see the light. Sometimes you have to take 5 steps down the road in order to know what the next 5 steps are. Sometimes you have to get on the road and start driving without working GPS. Your GPS is your faith in God, and God is you. You are your spirits. If you're a Gu child, Gu is you. That's the divine light alive in you. That's the light that's animating your physical vessel. If you're a Yemaya child, that's you. Yemaya is the light that's animating your physical vessel. God is not source. Okay? So when we talk about God and we talk about angels and we talk about these serene, divine archetypes, those are examples of righteousness for us to anchor into our lives. Those are divine energies we can anchor into our lives by living through righteous example. Thou preparest a table for me in the presence of my enemies. If you ain't got haters, you ain't got nothing going on. Thou anointest my head with oil, my cup runneth over. Surely goodness and mercy shall follow me in all the days of my life. Goodness and mercy does not mean you will not experience pain, but suffering is a choice. Pain is inevitable. Pain lets you know you're alive, and it's the stimulus for you to respond to. You have the ability to choose how you respond, also called responsibility. You have the ability to choose how you respond. Surely goodness and mercy shall follow me in all the days of my life, and I will dwell in the house of the Lord forever. Yea, though I walk through the valley of the shadow of death, I will fear no evil, for thou art with me. Thy rod and thy staff, they comfort me. He restores my soul. He leadeth me in the paths of righteousness for his namesake. You're going to be continued. See, this happens a lot when people have sun spirits, like the rainbow serpents. Those are the sun spirits. We call them Da. You would know them in Orisha as Dambala, Aida Wedo Dambala. So when you have sun spirits, they like to tempt you. Because if you have the sun spirits, you're a Messiah. You're a child of God. And what they do is they give you fortune and then they'll test you. They'll see if you lead into temptation. And if you can stand in the face of temptation and do the right thing, even though you think no one is looking, that's when you get more blessings. He restores my soul. He leadeth me on the path of righteousness and for his name's sake. So if you're a goo child, if your spirit is goo, if the spirit on your head is goo, hey, that's your God. That's your namesake. When you do your naming ceremony, you'll be given one of the names of goo. Could be Ugungun, could be Fogun, could be Fa, could be Fo, could be Egun, could be Ogun. We don't know, we don't care. Right? Say you're an Oshun child, you may be Bublume, you may be Yindi, Sekendi, Fula, Fulani, Moba, Mosi. Right? That's your namesake. In and of those divine syllables. Boo, blue, may. You can call upon the heavenly beings, the angels, to assist you, to guide you, to shelter you in the storm. Okay? So read Psalm 23. Hear my warning. This is a battle cry, my children. Don't let a motherfucker fuck with you. Bitch steps to you, tries talking shit. Fuck a motherfucker. Fuck a motherfucker. Fuck a motherfucker. Fuck a motherfucker. You are glorious. You are divine. You hold your head up high. You walk through this earth with serenity, humility, and grace. Okay? If somebody tells you you're a piece of shit, it's only true if you believe it. If you know God made you glorious and worthy, you believe it and you go out and you don't ask permission to live your life. If a motherfucker's trying to take you down, it means he is beneath you. You can do two things. You can give him mercy and compassion, or you can step in his face. But you walk forward with your life. Do not succumb to fear. Do not succumb to anxiety. You do your work, and you will always have a place in heaven. Surely goodness and mercy shall follow me in all the days of my life, and I will dwell in the house of the Lord forever. But that's only if you do number 5. Thou preparest a table for me in the presence of mine enemies. So if you run away at the first sign of a fight, how are you going to get anointed? If you are fearful of life, you're not going to become initiated and awakened. That's when you have your head anointed. If your kundalini isn't raising because you have root chakra problems, fighting for your survival, everybody's an enemy, scared to leave the house, can't show up and be present to anything because everything terrifies you, girl, you ain't gonna have no christening. Okay. Whew. All right. So this is the rod and thy staff. It's Mercury. It's Mercury. As above, so below. So let me check in with the comments. Okay, that's good. Hi, Shah. Thank you for that. Okay, so go ahead and smash that like button. If you could leave a donation, it'd be very helpful right now. And there's a lot of changes coming. And, I know I've been away for a little while, but we need to make this Temple Channel Vertex of Abundance a little bit more righteous. I need to stop cursing. I need to do a couple things because I'm going to start looking for help to open up a physical center here. I mean, this is a temple. I do full moon gatherings. I do pujas. I do clothing swaps. I do see clients here. But there's 3 other monks around. So there's a lot of things that go on here. And I'm going to announce something pretty soon. I'm actually going to open up a spiritual wellness center in Portland. And we're going to talk about some things. So Go ahead and look through all the videos because I'm going to take down all the ones that have curse words in them and stuff like that. I don't mind cursing. There's really nothing with cursing, but it's hard to attract investors. It's hard to put videos out as a portfolio. It's hard to get listed on the YouTube rankings when I'm cursing. And I'm still going to curse. I'm going to curse up a storm. I'm the potty mouth priestess. That's a joke. I'm actually the Judgment Day priestess, but I have a potty mouth priestess with the potty mouth. Okay, and I don't have a lot of shame. You know, I don't. I think shame is a pretty useless emotion. But I don't want to make things more complicated. And this channel, Vertex of Abundance, is too much about me, and it needs to be about we. Nobody cares how much I know until they know how much I care. You know what I mean? People are not going to care about me if I'm stepping all over their feelings, if I'm making it uncomfortable for them to be here. So if I have a general modicum of decency and people still can't roll with that, it says a lot more about them than it does about me. Does that make sense? I may be trying to give you $1 million, but if I'm covered in shit and look like a homeless person, you might not want to fuck with me. You know what I mean? So I'll think about these things. Anyways, ultimately, I'm asking for a donation, $2, $5, whatever. Thank you. And a donation doesn't need to be money. It could be a LinkedIn recommendation. Y'all can go to Yelp and give a thumbs up to the temple. You know, you can go to the Facebook page and do a thumbs up. You know, you can like this video. You can share it with your friends. Doesn't need to be money, but I could really appreciate your support right now. I've been hiding for 3 months. I've been dealing with some things. I've been shedding a lot of tears. I've been purging quite a bit. And it was beautiful. It was lovely. It was quite painful, but I'm grateful that I went through that period. And I've been sitting with God quite a bit, quite a bit. You know, ultimately, what I could share right now is just that I'm not showing up to my life myself the right way. The goddess told me that I'm squandering my talents and I'm wasting my gifts, and she's quite unhappy with me. She also doesn't like the way I'm taking care of children. She doesn't want me tap dancing on YouTube doing tarot stuff. She wants me to be a high priest and to lead my people to the promised land. And what that means is taking people home and naming the unnamed ancestors and purifying people and bringing them before the eyes of the goddess so she can hold us in her bosom. Because, you know, Judgment Day is next year. 2020 is next year. You know, I love tarot. I've been playing with tarot cards before the age of 8. I'm 31. In 2020, I'll be 33, like Jesus. I started my ministry at 30, like Jesus. I don't want to be Jesus, but if that's my role here, okay. You know, I like to be hidden. I don't like people talking to me. I don't like people knowing me. I don't like people touching me. I don't want people talking to me. But if that's not my job, I'm not going to complain. And part of the 3, 4 months of me being away was I had to go through my little devil moment. I had to look at my fears, look at my laziness, look at my deficits, look at my shortcomings, and own them. And you know, it was a bitter pill to swallow. I got a lot of ego. You know, I had to get out of my own way. You know, I hurt myself by checking out of my own life and squandering my gifts. So this is not like, you know, be weary, be scared, be whatever. It's just more of like, get ready for some changes, you know? It feels like I'm saying this every 6 months, but this is significantly different. If I share a little bit more, Uranus moved back into Taurus for me. On Earth, that means a change came to my sixth house for me as a Sag rising. So my health, I had some health flares and my day-to-day repetitive routines, and also the sixth house or the sixth house, 12th house axis is your devotional path as well. So whatever rules your sixth house is who you work for. So I don't work for Venus. I actually work for the mother of all goddesses. In India, we call her Adi Shakti. Adi Shakti is the great goddess. And in Voodoo, in Africa, we call her Geweka. Okay. It would basically be the energy of Neptune and Pluto. It's the world card. You want to know who my boss is? It's my boss. Okay. So I had like a month-long spanking from her, and it was health stuff. And then I was sitting in the bath one day, and I just cried for probably like a good 45 minutes. And all this stuff came out, and I've been unpacking it for the last couple months. And basically, what it is like, unfortunately, I have one of those Melchizedek journeys. So go look up Jesus, go look up 33, go look up Sirius, go look up the Lion's Gate. Oy vey, right? So that's what's up. I'll share more on Priestess Gorgeous. It's the YouTube channel. Subscribe, please, because there I'm starting a blog called Diary of a Mad Black Priestess. And that's where I'm going to have my potty mouth. Okay. I'm going to be cursing up a storm. I'm going to be flipping off people. I'm going to be cussing out people. I'm going to be doing, on rare occasion, I'll be doing celebrity readings like the Jussie Mollett lying allegations, false police complaints, and stuff. I think that was some type of Illuminati ritual. Either you got to be embarrassed or you got to sacrifice somebody in your family. Like Bill Cosby, that was an Illuminati punishment. Okay. So I'm not going to talk too much about it now, but that's a little drop in the bucket for those who love me and who care. I love you too. Okay. So every basically every 12 weeks I'll do a similar kind of sermon. Last year we were doing sermons from the Sacred Rebel Oracle by Alana Fairchild. Then we were doing sermons from the Cosmic Activation cards. So until June 22nd, we're going to be reading the Bible. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to just go backwards. I'm going to start with Psalm 23. Next week it'll be Psalm 22. The following week it'll be Psalm 21. I really like Psalms. I really like Psalms. It's like a good spell book for me, okay? So peace be with you, love, light, unity, harmony, and respect, resplendent grace to you and yours. Bless your ancestors, bless your ancestors, bless your ancestors for bringing you here. Bless the goddess for making beautiful babies full of love and harmony and divinity and grace. I thank you, I honor you, I praise you. Ho'onoponopono, I love you, I'm sorry, please forgive me, thank you. If you're feeling neglected and I owe you a phone call or a text message or an email, oracle@priestessgorgeous.org. I still have not got my server back online. I can't access the email from oracle@vertexofabundance.org. Please do not send money to the PayPal account at oracle@vertexofabundance.org. The link to send PayPal donations is in the video. It's in the show notes right now. It's paypal.me/Rev, as in Reverend, REV, Callie. My name is Kaladi, Gorgeous and Netishin. It means the vessel of the divine ray of light. That's what it means. I'm from a long line of dragon priestesses. That's what my name means. Kaladi, Gorgeous, and Netishin. It means I am the serene vessel of the divine rays of light for the dragon people. Okay? Mommy is a lion, daddy is a cobra. That makes me the sphinx. When you mix dragon and lion energy, you get a sphinx. Okay? Hi, hello, nice to meet ya. So paypal.me/Rev, REV, Callie, CALEI. The link is in the show notes. If you have some type of recurring payment for temple dues or membership fees, go ahead, go into PayPal and cancel that. I've been getting a lot of refund requests and stuff like that. That account is jacked up, so you're just going to need to go to PayPal yourself and either dispute or request a refund, and that'll get processed as it is. If you want to send a donation, it's going to a different account. I'm trying to build out the website. I've had so many balls dropping, so many balls breaking. I've had a lot of people come into my life and abuse me and just not treat me well and lie to me and fuck my life up, okay? So the goddess is angry, is pissed off. Mama's mad and she's been spanking people left, right, and center. I've had enemies have their life fall apart that I didn't even know they were enemies. Okay? So we'll talk all about this on my personal channel, but I'm going to go. Love you. I appreciate you. Tell your friends. Gorgeous is back. I'll see you next week for the sermon. Bye, y'all. I'm just reading these comments here. Okay, y'all. So I'm going to go check my email right now, and I'll talk to y'all soon. Have a good day.